Hey guys, welcome back to another She Reviews shows, and this is Our Kind of People Season 1, Episode 2. Now, Our Kind of People this week opens up with a church scene with Pastor John Gray. And I'm like, okay, we're using Pastor Gray in shows. Interesting. Now, if you don't know, Pastor Gray has his own scandals in his personal life, but that's neither here nor there. Pastor Gray opens up the episode with the church scene. And in the church scene, you can see Leah being annoyed at Angela and her family being loud. You know those black church folk, you're like, yes, amen. Come on, pastor, preach it when the pastor is speaking. So that's Angela and her family. And Leah and her family are just sitting there, being reserved. And then Lance Gross, I keep calling him by his real name, but Lance goes to this church as well. And him and Angela make a little eye contact while church is going on, that little seductive smile at each other. Like, oh, you go here too. Okay. So I thought that was cute. And it's interesting that they all go to the same church. But yeah, Angela and Lance are giving each other the eye. So anyway, after that, it moves on to outside of the church. And Leah's mother-in-law is talking to her, telling her that she needs to handle Angela because Angela is bad news. Then Angela pulls Leah to the side when a group of ladies are congratulating Leah for owning Franklin Holdings and as a result being considered a top boss woman. And she's going to be taking these photos with Forbes and they're going to have like this special lunch. Later on, it transitions into Leah's husband Raymond talking with his colleague Jack. And he's basically telling Jack that, their lives are so different. Obviously, Jack was born into wealth, so things just come easier for Jack. And what I got from it was that Raymond didn't really want to work with Jack anymore. And I think that really upset Jack. So anyway, now we're moving on to the ladies' lunch. And Lauren is late. And she comes in appearing to be hungover. And her mom's talking to her. And as her mom talks to her, she starts to look like she's feeling sick. And she runs out of the room to vomit. And when she ran out, Leah took her phone and she started to look through her phone. So lo and behold, she's looking through Lauren's phone. And what does she find? She finds a video with Lauren and Taylor. Now remember last episode, Taylor was in the hospital because she had been pushed over. So she sees this video and it appears that Lauren and Taylor were together. So anyway, Leah has to put the phone down and share her lunch. Then Leah instructs one of the ladies to take something to her mom and then she walks off. And then Angela comes up to the lady and says, oh, don't worry, I can take it to Leah's mom. And Angela now goes to find Leah's mom to deliver this. And Leah's mom is called Miss Rose. So she goes to meet Miss Rose, and Miss Rose knows her name, apparently. But obviously, she thought that Angie was Leah. So now Angie starts doing her hair and talking to her. And Angie asks her about her mom, Evelyn. So then Miss Rose tells her that she knows Evelyn Vaughn. And she says Evelyn Vaughn used to be her friend. And then she talks about how she told her husband, when you lay with dogs, you're bound to get fleas. So obviously this is implying that Teddy Franklin slept with Angela's mom, Evelyn Vaughn. So then Miss Rose goes on to say that Evelyn had a daughter and gave the child up for $15,000. And then Angela starts to get emotional and she's denying it. And Miss Rose says, Evelyn was a broke, good-for-nothing woman who would do anything for money. And this really upsets Angela, so Angela leaves crying. And then it goes on to Angela and Lance talking at Angela's house. And then Lance notices Angela's mom's stuff. And then it transitions into Leah taking a picture for Forbes magazine as a boss businesswoman after her rise to power as the head of Franklin Holdings. Then her dad steps in, and he seemingly is trying to ruin her photo shoot. And he starts talking to her, and she says to her dad, after he's talking to her, she says that she remembers him cheating on her mother and going with him one day when she was a little girl to an apartment and seeing another little girl outside in the rain. And Teddy does not like when she starts talking about this, and he walks away. And at the shoot, whose hair products does Leah see? Obviously Angela's hair products. Then Leah visits Angie's salon and tells Angie that she heard she's pitching to her husband's small business incubator, so she wanted to see the place. Then Angela, I call her both to be honest. Then Angela brings up Taylor and Lauren. And Lauren admits that she was with Taylor. And Leah says she can't support it, and Lauren walks out. So all this is happening in Angela's salon with Lauren and Leah and Angela. And once Lauren walks out, Angela tells Leah to be careful what she says next to her daughter because it was so important. Later, Angela gets a call and finds out that her mother actually did give her away. And she gets into an argument with her aunt because her aunt didn't tell her about it. Her aunt then told her that after 6 months of giving the baby away, her mom took Angela back but didn't give the money back because the aunt got into a jam. Angela goes to the ball with Lance now, and this is a big event and everyone is slaying. And then they meet Leah and her husband Raymond on the red carpet. And let me tell you, Leah's dress is so gorgeous. So in the ball, Nikki and Quincy are talking. And again, Lauren comes in and interrupts. Lauren asks Nikki if she told her mom about her and Taylor. And she says no. And obviously Lauren isn't believing her, so she tells Nikki that she doesn't belong here, and they get into a heated argument, and then Angie steps in and breaks it up. Nikki tells Angie she wants her to forget her identity, and Nikki doesn't like the fact that Angie is lying to everyone about who she is. So then Nikki gets upset and she storms off. Before Angie could run after Nikki, she hears the host announce Teddy and his daughter, the honoree, Leah, to come to the stage. And Angie goes into this trance because she can't believe that she's seeing the man who she thinks is her father, Teddy Franklin, in the flesh for the first time. So remember last week, she found out that this man was her father. So now she's finally meeting this man. And she seems to have like a bit of a panic attack as he introduces Leah. And Angie is just crying. Then Teddy, in the middle of his intro, says he's not retiring from Franklin Holdings. Now remember, Leah tried to force his hand last week's episode because she had these papers that could destroy him. And he announces that Leah is actually not in charge, but instead she's second in command. Then Teddy unveils that the real magazine cover has his face on it too. And I'm like, no, this man. Then when they walk off stage, he tells Leah that the papers that she had on him will also implicate her husband. So obviously Leah can't say anything. And then Teddy walks out of the place and Angela tries to run after him. And just like the memory in the last episode with her as a child running after him, she's also again too late. So instead she runs to the beach and cries and starts to vomit. Then her daughter Nikki comes out behind her. Leah's husband is now pulling her aside in the kitchen, and he is not happy at all. And he's telling her off and saying how he wants his company. But because Leah lost power of Franklin Holdings, now he can't get his company. And he was all like, your dad called you a queen, but you're not the queen. You're just a princess. He runs things. So anyway, Teddy leaves her there. And then in comes Jack. I said Teddy leaves her there. I meant Raymond leaves her there, sorry. And then in comes Jack, who's Raymond's old friend. And obviously, like I told you guys earlier, they seem to have like an awkward conversation at the beginning of the episode. So Jack starts talking to Leah, and then this loser goes in on Leah and kisses her. And Lauren sees it and runs out of the kitchen. And then Leah storms behind her. And then Lauren runs into Raymond, her dad, and he's asking her, well, what's the matter? What happened? And Leah's all like, oh, we can talk about this at home. But then in comes the police. And the police said that they are arresting Lauren because Taylor is now awake. And she said that she was actually pushed by Lauren. And she'll release an official statement tomorrow. So obviously everyone's now like up in arms. And then Lauren tells Nikki to tell them that she was there and that she didn't see Lauren push Nikki. But then Nikki says that she actually wasn't there in time and she didn't see what happened. And then Leah tries to roll up on Nikki, but Angela steps in like, not today, sis, not today. And she tells Leah, don't even try to come at her daughter. So then Lauren is whisked away by the police, and Raymond tells her not to worry, they'll handle it. Then the scene transitions into Angela going to Lance to apologize for running out on him. And he's all like, that's all you gotta say? So he asked her if she's been with Teddy or something because he was really confused to see her run out after him like that. So she said it was because of a business matter that they had together. So she talks about how she admired how he spoke about his daughter. And Lance says Teddy loves his daughter. Then he says that the Franklins are good people. And I'm like, are they? And he said he knew them for a long time. And his dad would do anything for Teddy, even die for him. And this was like an interesting part because I didn't actually know that he had history with the Franklins. He said that his dad was a security officer for Teddy. And he got killed when he was acting as a security officer. And ever since then, Teddy always made sure that Lance, I'm calling him Lance, guys, I'm so sorry, but his name is Tariq. He said ever since then, Teddy looked out for him and made sure that he was good. Then we transition into Angela and her family going to the lake to scatter her mom's ashes. And she beautifully recites a Maya Angelou poem. And this scene is really like touching and heartwarming, and I think this is honestly my favorite scene of the episode because it just showed the family coming together to just honor the life and the legacy of her mom. Then it ends with Leah walking into her dad's office because she's so angry that he is not giving up the business. And then he tells Leah that he went to see Evelyn. Now remember, she mentioned this to him at the photo shoot. And now he's telling her who he went to. So he says he went to see Evelyn. Now remember, Evelyn is Angela's mom. And he said that the little girl that she saw was Angela, her sister. And she freaks out, and he's playing chess when she storms into his office. And my girl swipes all of the chess pieces off of the board after he said this. And he tells her that she needs to step it up before Angela uncovers the truth and figure out the game. And in my head, I'm like, bro, Angela already knows. But anyway, it's gonna get interesting. And then we see Teddy walking into Angela's house, and he greets her aunt, and she pulls out a knife because she does not know what he's coming there for. And Teddy's all like, oh, can an old friend not say hi? And I'm like, really? But anyway, this is how the episode ended. And honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, 10 out of 10. It was really, really good, really entertaining. And I loved the plot twist at the end But it was also interesting because Angela found out who her dad was in the first episode, and I wasn't expecting Teddy to realize who she was until probably like episodes later, like season finale or something. So now it's gonna be super, super interesting because everyone knows who is who. So next week's episode is going to be hype. Anyway, if you missed my review of the first episode, please feel free to check that out and leave a like, a comment, and please subscribe to my channel, She Reviews Shows. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next week.